Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the first series of the Evolution podcast, where we're meeting with owners of coaching and training small and medium-sized businesses to discuss evolving their business and client impact in the era of AI. Today, I'm excited to have Craig Taylor with me. Craig has been working in cybersecurity for nearly 3 decades. He's the CEO of CyberHoot, and this is a cybersecurity training platform that has earned IT Startup of the Year awards for its psychology-backed methodology. Welcome, Craig. Please tell us a bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, so I've spent 30 years in cybersecurity, but I started out in university with a psychology degree. And I've also done a lot in terms of coaching and education. I was once enrolled in Teachers College, but quickly learned how little they make and decided to stick with cybersecurity. About 12 years ago, 14 years ago, I guess it is now, I founded CyberHoot, which combined all three, cybersecurity with education and psychology best practices to address what I think is a critical failure of the cyber literacy industry and essentially bring multidisciplinary approach to teaching people these skills they need to be safe online. I mean, that's the net of it.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Happy to have you here. And so today our episode is going to be on AI as a force multiplier for cybersecurity training. And Craig, obviously, per what you just mentioned, you're the perfect desk to come on and discuss this because you've incorporated AI into your product, using it to build the
Yes.
content engine, but also you have just extensive experience in the industry and the problems that the industry is having with delivering quality cybersecurity training, which I guess before we jump into the industry and your company topics, would be great to hear a little bit about what you mean with the value that CyberHoot particularly provides and that gap that you think other training companies were having when it came to teaching cybersecurity the right way.
Great. Thank you for asking that question, Ethan. It's something that I don't think is talked about enough in our relatively young industry known as cybersecurity. If you think about law or medicine, those have been around for 1,000 years or 200 years, and if you include folk medicine, 20,000 years, who knows? But cybersecurity's only been around for 35 years at tops, 40 years maybe. And so it's an immature field of study. And what has happened over the last 25 years is this single-mindedness and tunnel vision about stopping breaches that are most often tracked back to phishing emails where people have clicked on something they shouldn't, granted access to a hacker who has ransomed the company, or they've infected an email account and a finance officer, and wires have been sent to the wrong people, wire transfers. So ransomware events, wire transfer events are very, very costly. And so what companies have done is this knee-jerk reaction. We have to punish the clicks. We have to stop employees from clicking, right? And if they keep clicking when we punish the clicks with light punishment, we need to use bigger sticks and more severe punishments. If you click on 3 fake emails that our IT department sends to you, you're terminated. There's no other option because clicking can be so dangerous, right? And the justification is the consequences of the mistake. It's almost like you see your daughter or your son as an infant walking or crawling towards the road in the backyard, and you scream at them to stop in their tracks because you don't want them to get run over by a car, right? That's a natural response, and it's a natural response for these ID teams to want to stop the click. But when you get right down to it, yelling at your child from across the yard is only going to stop the behavior this one time in this one moment, without teaching them why it's dangerous and how to look both ways when they get old enough to understand that. You're not going to change behaviors in the long run. We're stuck as an industry in this loop of punish the click, punish the click, punish the click, hope that the behavior changes, but it doesn't, because it's not based in science. It's based in this natural reaction to stopping the event in real time. What we need to do is take a multidisciplinary approach, which psychology has learned and known for 75 years that rewarded behaviors are repeated. And they've also known that punished behaviors are never extinguished. They come back again, over and over again. this is probably common sense. People's light bulbs are going off in their heads like, what's so insightful about that? Well, the reality is you look at the news every day, you see breach after breach after breach after breach, right? From biggest companies of the world to the smallest companies. It isn't getting any better. So we've got to change something. Something's not working, right? And I think if you put your finger on it, this is what's not working, is that we're punishing bad behaviors, expecting people to change their behaviors over time. When you punish behaviors as much as we're doing it now, you get another problem. Not only are people not clicking, or people continuing to click, but they're stopped participating in the other activities that might have a potential change of behavior in the long run. The educational videos, the interactive simulations of phishing. People stop caring because they've been shocked one too many times. It's like training a dog with a shock collar or treats. The dog hates the shock collar. They will curl up in a ball in a corner and not want to get up because they got that shock collar on. But if you use treats, the dog will take the leash to you and say, let's go to the dog park. Let's go learn some things. Let's go have some fun and I can get some treats. Yeah. Positive reinforcement changes behaviors. We know this. And so the cybersecurity industry just has kind of gotten off on the wrong track. We need to course correct to positive reinforcement of good behaviors that will change behaviors in the long run. The side effect of that is better engagement. People want to participate. If you can add gamification, like CyberHoot, my company, we've built in gamification. We've got leaderboards now. We have certificates of completion. We have avatars that grow in maturity over time. All of these things, we find employees are participating because it's play, it's fun, it's a competition with their colleagues rather than the same old cybersecurity training. I hate that. It's become interesting to them. And so participation has gone up. Outcomes have begun changing in end users. Companies are getting fewer breaches, if at all, because their employees are at high compliance across all the avenues of risk, phishing and password hygiene and all the other things we teach. And it's all been made possible by just taking a multidisciplinary approach to changing behaviors.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I like the dog with the shock collar versus the treat analogy. I think that's great. I think that obviously have a shock collar for like extreme circumstances, right? If somebody has really pushed it too many times, but the goal is to avoid the need to ever use it, and it sounds like that's what CyberHoot is helping companies do is avoid the need 100%. To have a shock collar and use it if they do have one, and make it be a backup and not a preliminary approach.
Exactly right. Here's another great analogy, and it's from the educational classrooms, right? If you were to go through a year-long class on genetics, right? That's what our Hootfish phishing simulation is. It's positively reinforcing you for looking at the sender and the subject and the greeting and the emotionality and the links and the attachments, and correctly labeling these in these simulations. You get a in the browser phishing email, and you have to label these different components. It's all randomized as safe or suspicious, and we reward you by passing the test. We eliminate the trickery because we tell you this is a phishing simulation you have to go through and do. Okay, it creates engagement. There's a leaderboard. People want to do these things. They want to learn the rubric, right? But you go through that for the course of a year. Then you can go back to that shock collar at the end of the year. It's kind of like the final exam. Would you say a final exam is like a shock collar? Like, you don't want to have to do it, but you have to prove you know what you're doing. Yeah. So that final exam, we have the ability to send a fake, or what we call attack fish, to your users once a year, maybe at most twice a year, to measure what they've learned through the course of the semester of Hootfish exercises. And it's the best of all worlds, because you've got the proof that they know what they're doing. You've got the practice teaching them what they need to know instead of measuring what they don't know with those fake email messages. You get high engagement, you get happy employees. They actually sometimes view it as a personal benefit because they need to work on a computer and email at home, and no one's ever taught them this before, or not in a way that they wanted to learn. So it's a huge benefit for the companies that have adopted it. The managed service providers that roll it out, they get better retention on their clients because every employee is being touched with something interesting and fun and unique and competitive and gamified each month, building that client employee to the managed service provider MSSP relationship. Enterprises have a problem sometimes with culture. Culture's in the toilet because they've been punishing people with these fake emails and threatening to fire them, and suddenly they introduce something that is non-threatening, educational, fun, gamified, leaderboards, and they see compliance shoot up, culture shoot up, people are no longer to report things when they see something, they say something, and everybody's benefiting. So it's a huge win for the end user and for the business owner and for the enterprise and for the managed service provider. And if all of those are winning, then CyberHoot's winning as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, sounds like very mutually beneficial relationship you guys are able to establish with your clients. I guess to the point of the user winning and the enterprise winning, I guess I'm curious how, kind of looking at this from an industry perspective and the type of work that your company does, where has AI been able to plug in to provide additional value for the user experience and for making your product delivery more effective and loved by the users?
You're going to love this answer. The better question is, where hasn't AI played into running our business? I'll give you a bunch of examples, okay? First of all, we used to pay $5,000 to produce one video, which probably needed to be updated every other year. Today, we produce 12 videos using the latest and greatest AI technology, and we add, obviously a lot of intelligence behind our scripts to cover the salient and appropriate topics, the appropriate responses to those topics in the AI videos that we produce. So it's not like we just say, AI, produce a video on password hygiene.
Of course.
We have to create the script using AI. We have to make sure that it doesn't miss any gaps. So we use the AI to help identify, hey, here's the 5 or 10 salient points we think should go into a phishing video or a password hygiene video or an AI usage video. We have videos that train people that we produced with AI on how to safely, securely, and appropriately use AI. The latest one says, don't trust AI, own it and verify it, because you own the output of AI, not the AI model. You have to verify that they didn't hallucinate, that it didn't cite sources that didn't exist, that it didn't forget things that it should have included, right? We use AI not only to produce the videos, but also to write the Q&A and the explanations after the video's written. So we have a quiz that people have to pass. And we've created a project instruction set for Claude, and we produce Q&A, and then we're like, wait a minute, this answer is in the gray area. Someone could interpret it as true, but it's false according to your, the AI question you came up with. That doesn't work. We have to refine it. And so we have to go back and forth and have these long-winded, when I say long-winded, what took us a day to do in the past to create a set of 10, a video with 4 questions, specifically the questions, we can now do in a single sitting of 30 minutes. And we can be pretty confident that it's going to come across well. That's
and then you were
one
starting
part
to
of our
say,
business.
you were starting to say like it was $5,000 for like a video, and then you were about to say like now it's 12 videos in less time, and I'm imagining way cheaper. Curious, like what is it a proprietary software, or are you guys using something?
No. We're using VO3 3.1, the latest and greatest out of Gemini, and we're stitching things together with another AI tool, and we're using ElevenLabs to put the narration on top of the video scenes, and we're using translation AI to translate it into 17 languages, and we're using AI to help code the underlying SaaS platform to bring new features and functionality to the table. Like we just added leaderboards, and we added confetti when someone passes. All of that was coded probably by an AI agent. We're also using AI in other parts of our business. Okay, so communications, outbound communications, marketing, and sales, we use AI to create and craft messages And we have to be really careful because you can have a lot. There's this term that maybe you've heard, AI slop, and it's not unfounded. Like AI has this formulaic communication tone: problem,
Yep.
multiple solutions, best answer, and
Yep.
and it's more formulaic than that. So we actually write our own emails, and we have AI validate and sometimes make it more concise, because I do tend to write long-winded emails. I've been known to have some have called verbal diarrhea, right? It's just too much for what we need to do. But AI can crunch that down to the raw essence of it. It's still saying exactly what I set out to communicate, but it's made it grammatically correct, concise, impactful, right? And so it's quite powerful when you use it correctly. Look, AI is like a chainsaw. In the wrong hands, it can cut your arm off. It can be really deadly. But if you know what you're doing and you do it right, it can be enormously efficiency generating and force multiplier. It's probably like AI is like 10 chainsaws for one person, right? And they're all running at the same time with the one person overseeing them, right? The staffing of 10 people. It's that much of a force multiplier. So we used it in the marketing and the sales. Lead generation, we've had some struggles here, I'll be honest, Ethan. Because AI has become so popular for like lead gen tooling and email creation on campaigns that go out to the inboxes of the world, almost all of our lead gen has been word of mouth, social proof, person to person, special things like podcast sponsoring, conferences, things of that nature. When we tried 2 or 3 times to use an AI model to create lead gen emails and send them out to the target audience in our ICP, our ideal customer profile, we got zero traction. Unfortunately, it's almost that AI has become so good at this that every target person is getting 50 to 100 AI generated, interest emails or marketing outreach or lead gen emails, and they're like delete, 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 delete. They don't read them. So emails become way too saturated with top quality lead gen emails that no one wants to read, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a problem. We haven't been able to solve that through AI yet. Where else have we used AI? We write our monthly or weekly blog articles with a little bit of AI research, and we often use, so one of the biggest things that recently came out in the AI world was this Claude Mythos solution. Oh my goodness. When you go back in time a decade and you hear some of the brightest minds like Stephen Hawking's and Gregory, what's his name now? I always forget his name. Do you mind if I just quickly grab the proper name? I'm going to go to cyberhoot.com/blog, and I'm going to bring up our article on Claude Mythos, because these really important people said AI could be
Gregory Benford.
really dangerous. Sorry, what was the name?
Gregory Benford,
Jeffrey
maybe?
Hinton. No,
Oh,
Jeffrey
yeah.
Hinton. He's also known as the father of AI. He worked on AI development at Google for many years. He quit about 6 or 7 years ago, I think, Google, because he said, I foresee the future and I can't be a part of what the demise of humanity with the dangerous things we're building in AI. Like, he was a real harbinger, a canary in a coal mine, and he said, I have to step away from this because I feel like it's not going to be in humanity's benefit to bring artificial general intelligence or even super intelligence to the world. And he quit, and he said, let this be a warning. You're playing with something like nuclear bomb material here. We got to treat this as
everyone
highly
having access
radioactive.
To yeah.
And so Claude Mythos came out last week, and I finally connected the dots with what Stephen Hawking and Bill Gates and Jeffrey Hinton said. AI could be really, really bad in the wrong hands. And Claude Mythos was one of these examples. So on the good side, we've been talking about force multipliers and how it helps run our business, but it's a chainsaw and you got to be careful. Well, this is another method, thing altogether. It's not a chainsaw, it's a nuclear bomb, right? What Claude Mythos did is it was this code writing software that they said, help us find bugs in our software so that we don't have 0 days and buffer overflows and privilege escalation and all the cybersecurity mistakes that coding software can have. And it got so good at it that when they turned it on other people's software like Cisco and Google and Microsoft and all these different products online, it found vulnerabilities in every single product it looked at, every OS, every browser. And not just one in the browser. We're talking like 50, 60, 70 0-day privilege escalation, the sky is falling kind of vulnerabilities. And they said, holy smokes, we got to put the lid back on this Mythos thing and think about how we're going to release this to the world. Because if we just open it up and the Iranians and the enemies of the world of the United States or the North Koreans or the Russians or whomever, hacker groups and organized crime get access to this, they're going to break into anything and everything they want. All of our banking, all of our infrastructure, everything. So they now form this Glasswing coalition. Have you heard about this, Ethan?
Yes. I know that they're grouping together because they're so concerned with like what would happen if they released Mythos. Yeah, I know. I've been keeping my tabs.
So there's these elite group of software companies, 40 or 50 of them, that have access to Mythos in its full incarnation, and they're now scanning all of their products and fixing all the bugs because everywhere it looked, it found something that humans have been unable to tease out in all the scans and all the pen testing, all the vulnerability scans that have been performed for even like free OpenBSD, 27-year-old bug that nobody has found in the most analyzed, securest operating system that anyone has ever created. They said, this is crazy. You can crash any OpenBSD system online with this bug, this 0-day that was found by Mythos. Holy moly, how is this possible? So at the end of the day, this elite group of software companies are patching systems, but that leaves like a million other software companies with no access. Today I hear that there's a Mythos Lite that's coming out, and you can special register with your, proving and selling your firstborn child to Anthropic to get access that you can then scan for everyone else. You can scan. And instead of like, Claude Mythos has like, I don't know, 1 million tokens built into it, or maybe more. It's like 500 million. It's got a very high cost of running it because it has so many tokens and so many calculations in terms of what it does. But this light version is maybe not as powerful, but uses some of the same logic. And so it can be, kind of think of it like these guys got the steroid version, we got the regular everyday version, and we need to start using Mythos Lite, or I think they're calling it Opus 4.7, to scan software.
Yeah, so question there from the cybersecurity perspective, like how does this change the needs that your clients are going to have in terms of defending against cybersecurity attacks? Because like you said, like people could take this to launch much more high quality phishing, whether it's just quality phishing emails or full blown hacking, and it's like
full blown hacking.
Yeah, like now you got to start upskilling the IT teams, not just like the employees, to watch out for their emails. So how are you thinking about that from a business perspective?
Well, I wrote this blog. You can visit cyberhoot.com/blog, look at the Mythos blog article. We have 6 recommendations for people. One of them is AI related, right? If you expect the bad guys to get hold of some version of Mythos, you have to also use some version of Mythos on yourself. And you need to find and patch your own software. If you're a software company, you need to use Mythos-like tools to identify and patch your own software. But that's about the only thing AI can help you do. The other 5 recommendations were around business processes. So patching. A decade ago, a 0-day, if someone announced, hey, we have a patch for our system because we found a 0-day bug in it, it took about 200 years for them to reverse engineer the patch, 200 days to reverse engineer the patch into a working exploit. Right? So you had 200 days to get that patch deployed before hackers could really cause a bunch of chaos, right? Fast forward, say, half that distance, and I'm playing with these numbers very loosely, but the first and last are pretty accurate. Somewhere in the middle, around 2020 or 2021, that was down to like 30 days. And the latest numbers that I'm hearing is at about 10 hours. When you release a patch with a 0-day that you're fixing in your platform, you can turn AI towards looking at the patch and going, oh, here's how they did it. Here's the exploit code. 10 hours later, you can start breaking into systems. So the patch response time, normally we've written policies that say we're going to patch everything within 30 days of a customer release after testing it in development. That has to be rewritten into, we have to immediately apply patches to our systems, whether it's production or development or otherwise, and live with the consequences
every
if you
single
break
day.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, right? When we get announcements, we need to patch. So that's one thing, is the patch management. The other thing that we suggested
Is that getting built into CyberHoot's like training now, though, or is this just a
this
general
is so
concern
new.
that you know?
This is a blog article. You can subscribe to our CyberHoot blogs, get them a weekly or a monthly newsletter. We're sharing this knowledge. We haven't built any video training on this particular issue yet around responding to Claude Mythos, but we probably will. It's easy enough to do inside the AI modeling that we have. So,
I mean, it sounds
attack
great
surface
to like, work on with your existing client base. You know, obviously pushing it to new clients being another objective, but like with the people that you're already in touch with, have you done any like outreach to say, hey, like, over the last week, like this is potentially detrimental. We need to rethink our relationship here. We need to grow our relationship because there's so much more opportunity for disaster if we don't.
Well, it begs the question, what is our relationship with our clients? We're a cyber educational platform. We teach people the cyber literacy skills they need to be safe online. This Claude Mythos opens the door to more virtual CISO kind of work, a virtual Chief Information Security Officer that helps you build your program, identifies threats to your business, and then mitigates those threats. In our vCISO community, we've absolutely talked about this. We've shared this development. We've talked about reducing the patch timing. We've talked about reducing the internet presence of companies so that if you don't need to think of a house that has, say, 10 windows and 3 doors, a front door, a back door, and a side door. You should probably, in the land or world of Mythos, eliminate the back door and the side door. You should probably, close all the windows except for one. Have one window in.
Don't have the windows that are near like the floor, right? Like near the ground. It's too easy to get into those
on them, right?
Maybe keep the higher ones.
Exactly. So that they can't break in. So by attack surface reduction, you can eliminate more points of entry to your business. Then on the inside, you need to segment your network. You need to create true segmentation. If you remember the story of the Titanic, it had all these segments. So if it hit an iceberg, the water would flow into one compartment, but nowhere else. Except they forgot to put tops on the compartments. So once a compartment filled, it overflowed into the next one and the next one and the next one, and we know what happened. Well, that's broken segmentation. That's not real segmentation. And you need to do segmentation inside your network. You need to use the AI to scan your own stuff and fix your own things. What's really nice about Mythos and these other tools, as a side note, Ethan, is that when it finds a vulnerability, it also offers a solution. It says, here's the code to fix it. So you just have to test and validate the code and then implement it pretty quickly. It shrinks the amount of effort it takes to close the 0 days that it found. So that's a good thing. Yeah. You should also consider looking at your vendors who are using code and software and ask, are you using AI to scan your own code? Because I don't want to use a vendor that's not doing that. And lastly, it's the human layer. The sixth and final area to address this Mythos risk is to recognize that phishing attacks are going to get better, social engineering is going to get better, password hygiene is going to become more important. MFA and passkey adoption, all of these things, you need to train your staff on adopting password managers so that the human component the game is upped. You got to up your game as a human in the world we live in today, or you will be taken advantage of with some kind of social engineering. So use CyberHoot for that.
Yeah, no, I love that. So I guess from a tangible like growth perspective and trying to acquire new clients or upsell your existing ones, what are some of the main things that CyberHoot's thinking about right now to evolve the growth that you guys currently have?
Well, I think it's really like any business in the SaaS space. You want to get your message out there. We've got the right psychology and science-backed approach for an industry that's $6 billion in size, maybe larger, and we're just beating the drum of, hey, stop punishing and shaming employees, start rewarding and gamifying your cyber literacy approach. We see one other vendor doing this a lot out there, and we see about 40 to 50 vendors trying to create better and better mousetraps that shock and shame employees, right? So we have this and we have a patent pending. I'm very excited to say we got our rejection letter from the US Patent Office. This is the very first step to getting your actual patent approved, because they reject like 98% of the patents that are filed with their a priori art and their concerns about the claims that you make. And when we looked at it, we're like, oh, you clearly think we do shock and shaming of our users. We don't do that. We don't do email testing. We do browser-based testing. It's a totally different thing. And we don't shock or scare or trick users. We tell them this is your training program. So I think I asked AI, here's another use of AI. Hey AI, what do you think our chances of getting our claims and our patent approved by the patent office if we make these adjustments to what the patent office complained about? He goes, oh, if you make those changes, I'd say you're about 95% certain you'll get your patent approved. So like, that's really good news. And I do believe we have something.
I wonder how it's getting to that 95% figure exactly, but
Well,
it's good.
it can look at all.
Obviously, it knows the qualifications. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, AI, in terms of legalese reviewing and understanding all the a priori art and what was the claim that we made. And how, I've trained Claude, I've trained OpenAI on how CyberHoot works, the positive reinforcement, the rewards, the gamification. It knows us inside and out. In fact, lead gen comes from people asking AI. You know how it says AI optimization is important in the future, not SEO anymore? Like Google searches are way down, AI searches are way up.
Yeah.
Most AI platforms know a lot about CyberHoot because we've been using it for 3 years. We've been training it for 3 years on purpose. And so we get referrals. People sign up with us. Where'd you hear about CyberHoot? Claude told me. OpenAI told me. I'm like, yes, it's working. So AI optimization is the future. If you're still working on SEO optimization, you're behind.
But don't you have to be permitting that your information is being shared with Claude in order for Claude to take your company, the understanding that it has of your company, and be able to help?
There's that part, but there's also creating pages on your website that explain your approach, white papers that it can consume, and allowing AI to consume those white papers. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want any AI accessing my website, so they put in the robot stock text. Don't allow AI to talk to me. That's the dumbest thing you could ever do. You want AI to scroll and crawl your website and learn as much about you as possible, because it's all public-facing knowledge, right? The more it can consume about what you do, the better its answers to others asking, well, where's the answer to this? Oh, it's over there at CyberHoot. So you need to produce content that is consumable by AI agents and allow it to be in a format that they can digest and consume. White papers help with that. Case studies help with that. Just raw pages that explain the merits and demerits with links to other supporting documentation. So we've done all of that. So we're getting that. That's another really important area of AI that can benefit companies.
As you're explaining that, I just did a Claude search to see if I could ask it something generic and you guys would come up. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But I think my question was too generic. I just said, I need a cybersecurity company for my business that's known for using a positive reinforcement approach. Who should I hire? But that's probably was a little bit.
It didn't recommend us there. So
no, not right away.
Positive reinforcement, gamification, and small rewards for cyber literacy training.
Reinforcement.
And if not, then I'm going to go after Claude and tell it to shape up.
Somebody else is paying them off.
Well, there is this idea of, I think it's called AO optimization, artificial intelligence, AI optimization, AIO.
Okay. While this loads, anyways. So I guess you said that people are finding you online, like through things like Claude, and I'm sure ChatGPT too, for the people who haven't made the.
We've been using longer. than Claude, but yes.
Yeah. I think that the switch is worthwhile, at least from my personal experience. But then again, it's like I'm only staying in tune with Claude now that I have made the switch. So perhaps there's a little bit of
Yep.
tunnel vision there. Um, so it sounds like that's like been a growth engine. I know that you guys do great with like referral and word of mouth, but you said you had difficulty on the growth side with like trying to do lead gen and whatnot. Do you have any other thoughts, or is there like a challenge that you're seeing right now or feeling in terms of, you know, you guys have become so efficient, obviously, with using AI to make your operations so streamlined, and it sounds like you have the bandwidth to take on more clients. What feels like is getting in the way of making that happen?
We have just about infinite bandwidth because we can scale where our platform is hosted in AWS. We have all the resources we need to turn it on and grow. As you know, hockey stick growth is not a problem.
Yeah.
What we need is top of funnel leads and getting our name out there. We're self-funded, 100% owned by our own co-founders. We didn't take any capital from outside or venture capital. We own everything we do, which allows us to do what we want, but it doesn't have the same, deep pockets for attending every cybersecurity conference and advertising on every podcast and social media and watering hole that the people, our ICPs, go to and look for information.
Hmm.
So that's an area of focus for us. And I'm on this podcast as another free method of getting our name out there. You've done a
Yeah.
great job of identifying to your listeners a great solution that anyone can get behind because it's positive, it's educational, it changes behaviors, it has the right rewards and gamification built into it. So hopefully your listeners will turn and create some top of funnel for us. So I've been on probably 100 podcasts in the last 6 to 9 months, and I continue to work the channels that way. We're working with other, there's some media outlets there that are doing exposés on up and coming companies, and we're talking to them about, awards that they can give us and feature articles they can publish on us. But there's never enough, right? You're never growing
Yeah.
quite as fast as you want. So I'm open to any and all suggestions. Anybody that has bright ideas out there, reach out to me.
Yeah, no, we're striving to create a community where, not only do I have thoughts on things that like can be helpful, but also perhaps listeners can jump in and people can help one another. In addition to hopefully finding your service valuable and wanting
Mm-hmm.
to hire CyberHoot. So all the work that you guys do sounds fantastic. It's really impressive how much you guys are staying on the cutting edge of AI, particularly on the operations front. I obviously like you're using it on the rev side, but the operations sound so spot on, which is fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
And I hope that our listeners take note of that and realize like the ability to just generate like a ton of bandwidth and focus on growth without having to scale your full time employees.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess the only last question is for our listeners. Where might be a good place to go to learn more about you? Or I know you mentioned the blog link. Maybe restating
Mm-hmm.
that would be good. Um,
Yeah,
Congrats on the patent
cyberhoot.com.
year approval,
What's
by the
that?
way. I was just saying, congrats on the patent year approval. Oh, and there's also the university study coming out. You were telling me. I think that
Yes,
would be
so
interesting to
we've
quickly
got two
mention.
universities studying what we do and trying to prove that empirical evidence for the anecdotal evidence we've collected for many years that what we do matters, it works, and people are happy with it. So having empirical evidence will be quite a feather in our cap. Um, People can find us at cyberhoot.com. If you want to book a demo with us there, you can do so. You can email sales@cyberhoot.com and we can answer any questions that you have. You can go to
Hmm.
G2 Gartner. We're as far right as we can get right now without being in the leaders quadrant. That's because of market penetration. That gets us up to the top leaders quadrant, but we run a 4.9 out of 5 there. And everybody that will just read the comments, they'll tell you how great they've enjoyed CyberHoot. And so we have very, very high customer satisfaction and very high marks for capabilities. We basically automate everything you could possibly need to run your cyber program development. So there's really, and the cost, we're not prohibitively expensive either. So there's really nothing stopping anyone from signing up with CyberHoot today, either direct or to resell us to their customers.
Fantastic. I'm sold. You got me.
Thanks.
When I start needing cybersecurity assistance, I definitely am going to be in touch. So this has been fantastic. Craig, thank you again so much for taking the time. It's been great having you.
My pleasure. You've been a fantastic host, Ethan. Thank you so much. Oh, one more thing. We'll give anyone that signs up with this podcast the Evolution Podcast. So if you put the Evolution Podcast in your sign up where it says, where'd you hear about CyberHoot? Don't say the AI, don't say Google, say the Evolution Podcast. You'll get 20% off your first year on all costs. So that's a special thank you to Ethan for having us today.
Wow. I'm honored, even though I'm not going to be the one paying it yet, but can I use it like in a couple of years?
Whenever you want.
Or hell, it might be sooner. With Mythos, they might even be attacking the small businesses and just like wipe us all out if we don't put up the shield.
You're not wrong about that.
Oh,
it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a very difficult 12 to 18 months from an online cybersecurity perspective.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Thanks again. And to everyone listening, I'll catch you next time. And thanks for being here. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're looking to learn how business leaders are driving value using AI, make sure to hit subscribe. Feel free to check out our other episodes. And I've also left my LinkedIn in the description below, so you're welcome to connect, and I will see you next time.